Hello everyone, myself Ashwin and I am working as technical consultant at BISP Solutions, and BISP Solutions is a tech company and provide technological solutions across the world. Now in this today's webinar, it's a series of five days, and in this webinar Now in this webinar I am going to show you how to migrate the data, right? So how to migrate the data from QuickBooks, let's take an example of QuickBooks, right? How to migrate the data from QuickBooks to NetSuite. So first of all, let me show you. Today we are going to see only the information about how to data migration, how to do the data migration, right? So let's see here. A company is using QuickBooks for the last 5 years, right? Now company wants to switch to another ERP called as Fusion or the NetSuite. So here we are taking an example of Fusion. Now why company is switching? Because there are some limitations in their previous ERP system, and so they are moving to Fusion. So in this webinar series we are going to focus on how we are going to migrate the data, right? How we are going to migrate the data. So as you know that every company moves from one application to another because the another application is providing some new features. So now we are going to see how we are going to migrate the data. See here. The complete process of data migration is called ETL, that is the extract, transform and load. And here we are using the methodology called as transform and shift. We are going to taking the data, migrating the data. See here, we are going to extracting the data, transform the data and then shifted the data to the new system, that is Fusion. Okay, so now what is this process? Extract, transform and load. Okay, so how this ETL is done? Now ETL is the process from beginning to end. That the beginning starts from extracting the data. Now extracting the data means exactly what we are extracting. First of all, we are going to extract the COA structure. Let me open this, right? First of all, we are going to extract the COA structure, right? Then we are going to extract the master files. Here you can see the master files, and then the transaction files. So this comes in the scope, under the scope of this data migration. In every project, in every data migration process, these three things are necessary. Now that there are so many further things, that forms migration, or we can say the approval process migration. There are so many things. So these are the primary headings. That is, first we will extract and load the COA, then we will extract all the master files. Master files includes like vendor data, then the customer data, then the item data. All these things are master files. And after that we will transfer the transaction files. Transaction file data means let's take sales order data of historic. Now here also we will define some scope, that within the last 2 years of data we will going to migrate, because suppose the company is using any application for the last 10 years, in that case that would be very time consuming. So we will put it into the scope that we are going to migrate only last 2 years data. So how this scope is defined, in what type of documents are needed, that we will discuss in our upcoming series, right? Upcoming webinars. So we will discuss all the documentation part also, that what we are going to migrate. We will discuss on mapping document also, then the technical document also. We will see all these things. So today I am going to tell you that exactly what we are going to do in this complete process. Okay, so let's come here. Now again we will see here, if you see this here, yeah, now in this, now take an example again, let me show you here. For example, this is your source, right? Now here is the source. Now in this source, for example, let's take vendor file, right? Or we are taking vendor master, right? Now for the last 10 years they have been using this application. Now inside this vendor file, the address might be ADDR1, right? Now we are talking about migration of data. So first we will look at the headers, that exactly the data is stored is a different thing, but what headers are used, what header definitions are used. For example, in vendor master files, address 1, ADDR1, ADDR2 might be used in this. So when we migrate the data, we take the consent of the client, that do you want the same headers to be migrated in that target system. If the client say yes, then it's okay. We will just, so that methodology is called lift and shift, just lifting the data as it is and shifting into the target system. But here, suppose if the client says that no, in my target system, for example, let's take one more, that is called the target, that is here source is QB, right? QB, and then here the target we take as Fusion. Okay, now the same we are taking the vendor data, vendor master, right? Now here the client says that okay, change the headers because these we want full name, okay, ADDR address 1, then address 2, right? So this is their first task, that we need to change the headers. After that, remaining everything remains the same. And suppose if they are using any external ID also, suppose external ID, right? External ID, it's a manual ID that alphanumeric they have created by the combination. So we also have to add some new features in that, new fields in that vendor master of the target, that is the Fusion, right? So now our biggest task is, now they have changed the header, okay? So what we are going to do, first of all, we will take the CSV, we will take first the vendor master file into the form of CSV or Excel sheet, okay? Now again the second hurdle is that, suppose they have given us the Excel sheet in the format in such a way that is not meaningful for us. So suppose they have, for the last few years they have been becoming used to with that QB, right? So suppose they have inserted data as per their what we say convenience, but when we are talking about the target ERP, that is the Fusion, so in that case what we are going to do, we have to first massage and cleanse the data and make it meaningful and readable to the target Fusion, target ERP, that is the Fusion. For example, let's suppose I take this example here, right? Now suppose they unnecessarily, the file downloaded unnecessarily, initial 3-4 rows are useless for us, and here we say their data begins from the second row, like here we say as ADDR1, right? ADDR1, and then ADDR2. Now inside that, this is the first thing. Now inside that, suppose they have inserted some special characters, like let's take David John, and then the asterisk street, let's take street 1, right? street 1 st underscore asterisk 22 behind the bank. So there might be some special characters inserted in the address. Now what we are going to do first, so this is our first hurdle, is to is the headers, right? The header, what headers we need to change. So our first hurdle is hurdle 1. Let's take here hurdle 1, change of header names, right? Hurdle 2, removal of special characters in the data. Third hurdle is we have to align the data. We have to again align the columns as per our requirements. Align the columns as per the target ERP, that is Fusion. So these are the 3 hurdles that we will be facing at the very first time, in the very first stage. First is change of header names. So for this change of header names, what we are going to do, we will create a mapping file. Now this is not manual, that we will say that okay, make changes in ADDR1 to address 1. We are making it through computer. So what we are going to do, we will create a mapping file. Now inside that mapping file, what we will do, see here, let me show you, explain you. Here, let's come here. Suppose this is a source system. Okay, now, and this is the source system. Okay, source system, and this is the target system. Okay, and this is QB, another is Fusion. Now we have to create first the mapping file. Now mapping file means add ADDR1, as we have seen here, ADDR1, and in target what will be used, address 1. So client wants address 1 should be used, address 1. Okay, now second is like ADDR2, and then here let's take here ADDR2, here it becomes address 2. Okay, similarly here supplier name, it becomes here vendor name, or simply name, right? So we have to first make a mapping sheet, and with the help of that mapping sheet we have to change all the header names with the target. We have to replace, for example, let's take here, okay, I'm going to show you like this way. Now this is the source file. Okay, now third thing is that once the source file, staging area, now the term comes staging area. Okay, next hurdle is, next step is staging area. Now what is staging area? So let me quickly explain you about the staging area. Staging area means a place where the data extracted from the source ERP, that data is put into the staging area, and from that staging area we pull that data, we do some operations, and then we again put the data into the target. Or but here we have to make 2 staging areas. One is source staging area or initial staging area, another is final staging area. So I make it here, let's staging area 1, initial staging area. Okay, here I am taking initial staging area, source staging area. Now staging area is nothing, it's a place where the data is kept. Now here in this, right now we are taking a folder. So in that folder, all the Excel sheets which are downloaded by the database administrator from the client side, he will extract all the master data. So first of all he will download the COF detail, then he will download all the master data. So right now in this webinar we are using only these two terms, that is the CO and vendor data or the master files. Now it will put all the Excel sheets which are downloaded from the source ERP. Then we will perform operations on it. We will cleanse and massage the data with the help of Python, right? Now with the help of Python, now here is final staging area. Okay, this is the final staging area, and with the help of, because it is mandatory that we can't tamper the source data, so we have to pull that data from that folder, and then we have to perform some massaging and all we say the cleansing and the massaging, and then we will put the complete Excel sheets into the final staging area. After this, once the final staging area is done, then what we will do, we will upload all those. Now in this final staging area, what happens between these 2 points, what happens during this stage? So during this stage, all the headers will be changed with the headers of target ERP system, that is the address one. For example, this address one will be changed into the address one, this. So and also we will be going to remove all the special characters if required. If the client gives us the information that yeah, we have inserted some special characters but we don't want this special characters into the new target system, so we have to it's another task that we need to perform. So that is called cleansing and massaging the data, that we will also discuss in our next webinar. So now this thing happens at this point, at this stage, right, in the middle, and then the final output will be kept into the final staging area. Final staging area is also a folder in which we put the data, the final finalized data in the form of Excel sheet, right? Then this Excel sheet will be uploaded into the target, that is the Fusion. Now there are so many ways. For example, we will take first initial four vendor datas, right, 4 records, and then we will upload as it is with the help of mapping. And if they show any type of error, or if they show any type of mapping error, in that case we will again make some changes in the scripting part, or we can say the mapping part, and then again we will upload. So let me show you that process. Just a second. Here we come, mapping, mapping, here it is, mapping and migration process. Okay, now see here what has happened here. Let me show you first this example, right, then we will see that. Okay, source, as I have just discussed with you, source Excel sheet, and then the CSV file, then target CSV file. Now why this target CSV file? We just want the headers, of the target, that is the Fusion. Now I have one example here, template, here it is. See here is the Excel sheet which is downloaded from the Fusion, right? Now this is the Excel sheet. Now see here, batch ID, then the import action. Few fields are mandatory, so we need to give them as hardcode field, and then few fields are not mandatory, so we will, now these things, taxpayer contribution, then taxpayer country code. Okay, after that taxpayer ID, payment method. So these things will be mapped with the source, and here the header names might be different. So that is what we are going to do in the middle part, that is the cleansing and massaging part here. That is what we are going to do here, right? And after, once it is done, then that finalized Excel sheet. Now what finalized Excel sheet contains? It contains the data of the source system, but all the headers name will be changed. So headers name, so that it becomes the finalized sheet. and then that finalized sheet, now either we show it to the client first that yeah, check it, these are the headers we have given, so this is our finalized sheet. So once he say yeah, okay, that is good to go, in that case we upload all the Excel. First we will take 4 records and then we will upload it into the target. So now let's see the complete process flow diagram here. Now see here, as we can see here, download the master files, right, all the master files, right, then download files from target in CSV format. Now either CSV or Excel, both works. So here we will we will download all the files, right. After that, list down the fields of any specific record, okay, then list down the fields of same record, okay. Now we are having the master files and the source file. Now map the relevant field, put it in Excel sheet. Now this is what I have shown you just few minutes back. See, this is a mapping sheet. I will show you the finalized mapping sheet also, the original mapping sheet, right. Then what we are going to do here, map the relevant field and put it in Excel sheet, okay. Now we are having the mapping sheet in which the headers of both the system are mapped, okay. This is our mapping sheet. Create one final sheet which contains the data from source system, but the headers should be as per the target system with the help of above mapping sheet, okay. So what we have done, we have pulled out the source Excel sheet and then we perform some operations, and we have used this mapping sheet to replace all the headers from the source with the finalized target ERP system. Now upload the final sheet to your target system and then validate with the data, and then validate with the data received from the source system. Now here another hurdle is just uploading is not sufficient. For example, in the Fusion, okay, align the columns, okay. Hurdle 4. Now hurdle 4 is that only after uploading we need to match and validate the data. Why? Suppose many times it happens that we have uploaded 100 records and at the end in Fusion only 15 to 20 records are loaded and remaining all missing. So what we need to do first, we will first import 4 records of the vendor. Here we are taking a vendor file, right. So we will upload 4 records of the vendor and then we will check, we will cross check whether all the data, all the fields are uploaded. Then again we will show it to client that this is what we have done, because in this there are lots and lots of meeting held during this migration process in a live project. So we have to again show that to the client that yeah, we have done it, so please check. And once they approve it, yeah, okay, the 4 record data, this is what we wanted, so he will check all, and after that if the is data matched, okay, so migration complete. So we will move ahead and then we will move all the 20,000 records, because in the scope, in the BRD scope, we have already mentioned that we will upload only last 2 years data. So we will take all the last 2 years data. And suppose if the data is not matched, suppose as I said that suppose 20 records are uploaded and remaining 80 records are not uploaded. So in that case again there might be some mistake in the mapping sheet. So that is why now here comes log files. Now another term comes, the log file. What are log files? Now log file means, for example, you have uploaded 100 records. Now it is not so easy that you will check, okay, vendor number 1, vendor number 2 up to vendor number 100. No. So log file, these are the files which are generated by your either your scripting, because you are the responsible for uploading all the data. So whatever script you write in Python, because here we are discussing with the help of Python, right? So whatever data that you are generating or we are uploading, so there should be log files that shows that how many files are not uploaded along with their error reason. So here log files are also generated along with their error reasons. So once we get the error reasons, it would be easy for us that to how to rectify that error, because until we get the error reason file, or we can say log files, we can't check that what error is coming. So that is why we use these log files, right? Then if I show you one more process here, is the data matched? Okay, yes. So this is what we are doing. So first of all, the process is extract the files, that is the extract here, extract here, extract, then transform. Transform means we have transformed the data. First we change the headers, then we changed then we removed all the unnecessary data, we removed all the empty cells, all these things, right? Right now we are talking about only master data, right? So master data is uploading of master data is a quite easier task. So what we will do, we will remove all the empty cells. So all the vendors, for example, a company is having 100 vendors, so 100 supplier data is uploaded. Now see here, mapping files, mapping file of source headers and target file, right? New output file created which contains data of source and headers of target. As I said, data of source and headers of target, and this file is kept in staging area. We have already discussed staging area means it is nothing, it is a place where the data is temporarily kept, right here. So here, right, then we come here and then we go here. So this is the staging area, because we can't temper the source file given by the database administrator from the client side, so we can't temper that. So we create our own final sheet and then we upload it. Then let's see here, okay, the file is kept in the staging area. Then upload the newly created file in the target system, that is the Fusion. And here if I show you, here it is. Okay, now see here, I have given you the example as I have shown you previously, that these are the new headers. We have mapped all the files, vendor data, we are migrating. Okay, all the final upload file in staging area. Staging area is very necessary, that we are going to, we will keep all the files here and upload the newly created file. Now the next stage comes, that technology used for ETL. Right now here we are using the Python and data science concept. Why Python? And because we need to speed up the process. Now we need to speed up the process. See, suppose there are 100 vendors, and every vendor record, suppose address is having some special characters, so we can't deploy one person that he will check each and every cell that whether there is a special character or not. So we have to speed up the process. So what process we have used here, that is, here is the mapping file, Python data technique, pandas library, and then target system. Okay, so target system Fusion file is now created. So here step by step we have written here. So let's take an example that we are migrating the vendors list from source to target. Now first we will extract the Excel sheet of vendor from source system and put it into the staging area. Fine, we have already discussed this. Then we will extract the header names from target system. Okay, headers of the target we have received. Okay, now see here, one more thing I would like to show you. If you want to see the target, so here you can get import supplier addresses, right? So supplier, if I open this, I have already downloaded this. See here, supplier import template, you will get all the details here. Supplier, this is given by Oracle itself, right? The Fusion, all the headers in the vendor. So here we have used this. Now then we will extract all the header names and target system. Okay, now we will put the data of source file into a new file and then replace the headers of source data with the header of target system. That is true, that we have already learned. Here either we can use the programming language like Python or the macro facility which is inbuilt in MS Excel. Now there are two techniques, either you use the Excel, Python and pandas library. If you are having if you are a developer in Python, then you can use that technique, or if you are too good in macro, that is also possible. So there are two techniques in which we can do this. Okay, then another is, then we will create a button in the Excel and hit that button, then our code will be executed. See, running macro also works with button press. Similarly, if you connect Python with Excel sheet, so in that case, whenever you hit the button, we will add a button in the macro, in the ribbon of the Excel sheet, and then as soon as you hit the button, immediately all your code of Python that will start executing, and then it will start working on that, and all your what we say headers will be start replacing with the target system. And in this way, now your final sheet is ready to upload the data. So this is how the complete process. So again, let's have a quick recap. We are having taking a new paint. Okay, here is, we are having a target system, a source system, that is here, the source system, that is the QB, right? Then we are having the target, and all these tasks will be done through developers, so it's a technical task, that migrating the data, right? So target system, that is the fusion, right? Then the process is extracting the data, so extract the data, extract data, then put it into the staging area, okay, transform it, okay, transform it, then again extract, transform, ET, then load. Again we come here we go, and then we will write down here load, because our final Excel sheet, uploadable sheet is created now. Load in target, okay, load in the target, and then here is our target system. Just a second, here it is. This is our final target. So this is done like this way, and there is no human or manual intervention here. Everything is done automatically and with the help of scripting. Downloading the data extract, that is the database manager, it's a one-time task, so it's not a big task. He will immediately download all the master files in one day, so that's a one-time task. So there will be a manual task, but after extracting the data, we will pull that data and then we will perform operations, that is the technical task. After the data is loaded, then after the data is ready, then it will be put into the fusion task. So this is how it is done here in this last stage. Last slide we have seen this, right? Now let me show you one more thing, that is, okay, how mapping is done. Okay, so here we are having the target. Okay, now let's go to our sheet. Let me show you, just a second. If you go to vendor, right, okay, now your vendor is here. Here is QuickBooks vendor. Now see here is the vendor part, here is the vendor part. Now here is the vendor part. Now see here, this is the data of vendors which is downloaded in such a way. Now if you see this initial first row to 35 row number 1 to 35, they are not meaningful and useful for us. We need this data. As I told you earlier, ADDR1, ADDR2 is used in what? The source, right? And if I show you the mapping sheet is here, vendor detail mapping. Okay, now see here, this is source QB. Now this is source. Now ADDR1 we have already taken with the help of transpose. We have captured all the headers, and we have put it into vertically with the help of transpose. Then here is the target fusion. Now in target fusion, so in fusion ERP, whatever is mandatory we have given an asterisk, and whatever is mapped, whatever we received from the source, we have already mapped. See here, address 1, address line 1, address line 2, all these things we have mapped. I told you that supplier first name new, and here first name is used. So this is all is used here, right? And then we will make a sheet like this, and after that what we will do here, with the help of a developer, Python developer, we have written a code that we will discuss in our technical part of this webinar series. Then just go to here, I will press here QB vendor. Okay, I hit this button. Now you can see here right now ADDR1, ADDR2, ADDR3, ADDR4, right? I will hit this button. Now wait for 2 seconds, and then see here. Now see, this is new output. This is the final output that we received. Data is same, data is from the source, but the headers are completely changed. I told you, see here, address line 3. See, I show you the mapping file also here. Address line, where is that address line? Here, address line 1 2 3 4, and here also address line 1 2 3 4. So all the headers are changed with the help of scripting. So when you hit this button, in the back end the script is running, the script executed, and then that script worked. So this we will discuss in our next webinar. So guys, this is all the complete process that we have discussed in this webinar. And after that, once you have all these files, all these final files ready for upload. Now see, there is, now in this case we have not whatever we have received from the QB, there is no any special case, that special character. But if special character is there, then we have to remove that also. So that also comes under the part of cleansing and massaging, that is the intermediate part, right? So this is how we can transform. So complete procedure starts with ETL. Here it is, ETL, extract, transform and load. So there are two methodologies. One, either if the client demands that no, we don't want to change the headers, so in that case you just lift the data and just map the data and shift. But if the client says that the data that they want the headers name to be changed, so in that case you have to lift the data, transform the data, and then shift the data. Correct? So this is complete process. First take the data, take the headers of the target, then interchange all the headers, which will be done with the help of scripting. Then final sheet will be kept into the staging area, and then upload the newly created final sheet into the target. So guys, this is all about the migration process. This is called the migration process. Now here in this complete webinar, I have taken only one sheet, master sheet, that is the vendor data. Now there are so many Excel sheets that you have to migrate. but the procedure will be the same. For example, if you want to migrate the COA, that I will show you in our next webinar, that how we will convert the COA into the user as per the requirement of client, and then we will transform that. Secondly, just a second. Okay, now secondly, then we will see the vendor data, the master files, COA files, the master files, and all the transaction files. Then there are form files, then there are what we say approval process files, records approval process. For example, there are 50 sales order which are pending approval, there are 100 records which are not approved, so which are approved, open invoices, all these things that we have to migrate from source to target. So this is how we do the migration process. And in our next webinar, what we will do here, here is next webinar, what we will do, the technical details of how to data is extracted and inserted. That means tomorrow we will see technical details of how data is extracted and inserted. Now today we have seen the data is extracted and inserted in this way, but technically how we will do this, what type of scripting is needed, what type of scripting is required there. So this is all we will do it in our next webinar. So guys, if you face any difficulty or in any point, so you can write down in the comment box also. And in our next session we will see all our technical part, only technicalities, right? Okay, thank you guys, thanks for watching.